It was a few weeks ago. I was with a group of people, say half a dozen or so, just chit-chatting, nothing special. And one of the ladies in the group was a woman named Bobby. She was in her mid-60s, very affable, very pleasant, very friendly, very talkative. And she makes no secret her big goal in life right now is to find herself a husband. That's what she talks about, and that's what people kid her about, that she's on this search, this hunt for a husband. In fact, she employed my help if I know of anyone, if I could put him in contact with her. So my eyes are open. Anyone here single looking for a wife? Would anybody here? No? Okay. All right. Well, I'll be looking, though. And she tried different things. She's been on that Match.com, eHarmony.com. That she said one time she was invited to a party, a gathering, and she was told there was a doctor there who was unattached. Oh boy, her antennas went up. Ooh, a doctor. That'd be a nice catch, huh? They failed to tell her one important factor, though, one important thing, that he also happened to be a priest. So that sort of didn't work out too well. That was a bummer for her. But anyway, she said she tried it. She's gone on blind dates, and she said, on those blind dates, at times I wish I was blind, she said, So it's sort of kind of funny and humorous. And I'm listening to her, and I sort of get my own little input on it, advice, right or wrong. I think to myself, you're in your mid-60s. I said, all these years you've been by yourself. Maybe it's best you stay just as you are. You have your freedom. You come and go as you want, your own little idiosyncrasies, your habits. It's not that easy, I don't think, necessarily marrying somebody. All of a sudden you got to adjust and different things. Maybe you just keep things as they are. Not that simple, huh? And she said to me, Father, just because I'm single doesn't mean I don't cohabitate. Oh. I said, wow. I'm not so sure I would say that to a priest so out front like that, I don't think I'll admit to that yeah, of course you. So I was taken aback and said it from the others as if it was the same thing as, just because I'm on a diet doesn't mean I don't eat ice cream. It's sort of the same thing. There's nothing special. And so what I found surprising about it was, at least externally, from what I can tell, she's a very devout Catholic. She attends regularly on Sundays, and if she can, during the week. I know she has a prayer life. I know she reads and prays over her Bible. She gives of herself and her time and generously to others. Some other things that you sort of admire and think, wow, this so somehow didn't make sense. And then I thought to myself, well, maybe she doesn't know. I mean, when you ever speak about it, maybe she doesn't know that. And so I think to myself, well, if she doesn't know, well, maybe you don't know either. Maybe silence in her mind meant acceptance. Things have changed. Everything else is changing. Maybe that as well. And besides, seemingly everyone's doing it, so maybe it's okay. So this morning, I'm here not to point fingers, accuse, condemn, but I would like to speak about it. So perhaps you may have doubts, maybe wonder, gee, does it still count? Is it okay now? So I'd like us to speak about that, because Paul tells us that we who are in Christ, we live not in the flesh, but in the Spirit. And Jesus says, take my yoke upon you. For my burden is light. And that yoke is what they put on oxen to guide, to steer, to direct. And the yoke is, in a sense, living the Christ life. So I'd like to speak about that. And if not for you, maybe for your children, your grandchildren or great-grandchildren, they may have those same questions. At least they may know. So if you have to decide, at least you know what you're choosing. Right? At least you know what you need to be choosing. All right. And as we talk about this real quickly this morning, let's be honest. When it comes to sexuality, no one bats 1,000, right? We all fail, right? It's always a struggle for all people. So let's not kid ourselves, all right? It's not easy. It's how we're made, how we're wired. So we all fail. No one's perfect. No one bats 1,000. But there's a difference then once we live together before getting married. It's a public statement. There's a difference. Now, this is not my take on it. It's not my opinion. Nor is it the church's teaching, as if somehow that doesn't count. It's really from God's Word. It's from God's counsel. That the privileges and blessings of married life should be shared only by those who are married. And we wait to a marriage to enjoy that. That is the teaching. And I guess, I don't do many weddings lately anyway, but those who come, most all, if not all, live together. It seems to be the process now. You date, live together, and get married. But I'd like to address that. And then understand why maybe it's so widespread. One, seemingly everyone is doing it. We see the culture, and so we just fall into place. Right? And so I can see that we're all influenced by the world we live in, so it doesn't seem any bad effects from it, so we kind of all do it. Secondly, I think why it's become sort of popular is that many children have been, come from divorced families. And they've been scarred by that. They suffer from that, and in their mind, they want to prevent that from happening again. I really think it's well-intentioned. I think if I test the waters first, then I won't make that mistake and won't put my children, myself, through that pain. Yet, statistics tells us those who live together before being married have a higher rate of divorce than those who don't. You would think, because you can't treat people like you're going for a test drive. They're not a pair of shoes you put on and walk down. How does that feel? Not too good. No. You can't treat people that way. And oddly enough, there's a huge difference, isn't there, though, living together and being married. Seemingly seems the same. I don't see what the difference. I say, you live together, why don't you just get married? Then why not just get married? But there's a big difference. Psychologically, in the back of your mind, no, if you live together, I can always get out. You're not totally committed. In the back of your mind, if I don't like it, I can leave. See? You never have surrendered yourself totally. You're always holding back, and you're always being tested and judged by the other person as well. See, once you get married, if you take the vow seriously, say, this is it. When I say I do, this yes to him or her and no to everyone else, it's a big difference. It's frightening. And truthfully, there's nothing that you can do, nothing you really can do to prepare yourself for married life. Really, there isn't. Those who've been married many, many years, how would you have known what you would have faced together? There's no way you would know. No way you could prepare yourself for the challenges, the struggles that you would face. There's nothing, you can't. It's simply that we're in it, and we stick together. And one of the great blessings of married life is this, knowing that your partner says, no matter what happens, I will not leave you. That is a comfort, that is the insurance. That no matter what, I'll be with you. Anything about the way people live together, at least when they come, some have mentioned it to me, well, Father, listen, I'm always at her house. We're always there. I'm always together. And, people being people, the passions, and so what the heck? If I'm always there, mine was to just live there. Besides, it saves money. As if finances is the priority in God's, this is what counts. It's not. But there's a difference, though, living together and then, even if you mess up, even if you fall to your passions. See, once you live together, it's a public statement you are making. It's a public statement that whatever God may teach, I choose not to go that route. The difference between, falling to our passions, it happens, we're human. But to publicly state, this is how I live. And only that, by living together, we affect each other. See, if I see you live together, and this person live together, then I think, well, it affects me. Then I may as well live together. It just affects all of us. Now, I'm sure many of you perhaps have lived together before being married, and you say, look at me, it worked. God bless you, and I'm glad. But I also know people who smoked 2 packs of cigarettes and never got cancer. I wouldn't recommend smoking. Sure, it's not what God asked. I know it's not easy. And that's what Jesus says, this is the yoke, this is what it means following Christ. So I say this not condemning or accusing, but just that, in a sense, as a reminder. For that woman who was a very good practicing Catholic did not know, I said, well, who else doesn't know? And so as pastor, I have to remind you and myself what we're called to do, to follow Christ. I just got back from Honduras. In the airport, whenever you see Americans in the airport, typically they're all missionaries. And usually any Americans you see in the airport there in those countries, they're typically missionaries. And you can pick out the female missionaries as well. They're usually dressed differently. In fact, I was online, right in front of me was this young lady heading home to visit Pittsburgh, and she had this long brown skirt on, simply dressed. I thought she might have been a Mennonite. No, she said she was a Baptist. And you see these women that dress these missionaries, especially the women, they stick out, you know. You can pick them out. Oh, there's a missionary. Look how they're dressed. They don't dress like everybody else. They look different. In a sense, you can almost say they look odd compared to the whole general crowd. And yet, but there's something attractive about them. There's something admirable. Like I was curious, so I had to talk to her. You know? Why? What? Where? You know? Because you're unique. You're different. And I think in some ways, if we, as Christians, Christ followers, and since live the same way God has asked us, especially in this area here about sexuality and living together, people say, my, they're odd. They're different. They don't live together to the marriage. And they'd be drawn. Why? Who are you? What motivates you? And so I share that with you. Fast for yourselves, maybe your children, your grandchildren. They may ask. At least they may know. So if you're going to choose, at least you say you cannot choose from ignorance. That we who are, like Paul says, are in the Spirit, not the flesh. And as difficult as that may be, we must strive for that, even when we fall short, because we all do. But we just can't throw in the towel. So if you want, good luck on your Match.com, anyone's searching, or eHarmony. Good luck on the blind dates. But trust God. Trust God in all the affairs of your life. Even your love life is important, and He cares for you. Trust Him and follow Him, and He will bless you.